The day after, Liverpool won, Manchester United 2. So man has had time to decongest, digest yesterday's results. So hopefully today's video is going to be a more balanced, less emotional video about how things are going for Liverpool this season. I would also end the video by previewing the Champions League game on Wednesday against Frankfurt, and that is an away game that I expect us to win in spite of our current issues. I expect us to win that game, right? Because Frankfurt themselves are not doing very well. They are 7th in the Bundesliga. So I don't expect anything else than a win. And I believe that we can get things right this time around. Now, let me start by saying this. In spite of what Liverpool is going through right now, let us not forget that last season, PSG had a similar season. At the beginning, things were not going well. Things weren't right. They weren't looking good. But look at how they finished the season. So what I would say to all Liverpool fans and people who are very angry about the way things are going right now, very emotional, very sad, is that what really matters is the end. What really matters is the end. I believe we are going to turn things around. That is one thing that I believe. We are going to turn things around. The multi-million-dollar question that comes after that is whether or not it's going to be too late or not. That is a multi-million-dollar question. I don't know the answer to that. We live to see. I would also want to remind Liverpool fans that this has happened before. In the 2020-2021 season, after Liverpool won the league, in the 2019-20 season, this was exactly what happened. For some reason, we tend to blame injuries for what happened that season. But I beg to differ. It wasn't because of the injuries. The predicament of the team started way before the injuries set in. Yes, the injuries might have made things a bit worse, but I don't think it was due to the injuries that Liverpool had that poor season they had. But remember that in that season, things changed. We turned it around, but it was a bit too late. It came around February, March of that season. We are currently in October. So I believe things are going to change. Things are going to turn around. But could it be too late? Of course, yes. It might be too late. We might be out of the Champions League. But hopefully not. I hope that we'll be able to turn things around whilst we are still in the Champions League. So that even if the Premier League is gone away from us, we'll be able to do well in the Champions League. We've already won the league last season. So not winning it this season shouldn't be the end of the world. We can concentrate on the Champions League and win other trophies. So let's do that. Let's do that. I believe this team can do it. And I think it is an issue of mentality. The mentality is not right now. Players are trying what they can to bring 100% to the games, but they are not getting it. It is not coming. The manager is not able to press the players and be on their case and hammer them for the performances they've been giving. I think the manager is not really doing that, because if he was doing that, we would see a difference in the performance. And I think the reason why the manager is not doing that, pressing the players and hammering them and making sure that he demands much higher standards from them is because of the tragedy that occurred in the summer with Diogo Jota. So the manager understands that players might be dealing with issues. Players might be dealing with issues. We can't discount that. That is something that we should take into account. It is not an excuse. It's just reality. It is not an excuse. If you think it's an excuse, then you need to really take a second look at yourself, right? Because people grieve and people deal with grief differently. It affects people differently. So I think that is an important factor. The manager is not able to really be on the players and demand all those standards from them. And I think that is the reason why he keeps playing Salah. He keeps playing Salah because he thinks by playing him, it will help him to get back his form. Because I think Salah is affected by this particular issue. He is one of the players who has been most affected. We saw how he reacted after our first game of the season against Bournemouth. We haven't seen Salah show that much emotion in public before. That was the first time. And so you could see how much it's affected him. So I think that is part of the reason, not the only reason. It is part of the reason why we are seeing the Salah that we are seeing right now. But I think sometimes it is good for players to be taken out of the firing line to allow them some space, to allow them some room to get back to form. I think that it will help Salah if he's taken out of the team. Maybe the manager is looking at the human side of it. It is not only Salah, by the way. This applies to other players as well who are not really performing at their best. The manager is looking at the human side and saying to himself, maybe, I wouldn't be human enough. It wouldn't show that I support my players if I start taking these players out and replacing them with other people, right? Because he might lose the dressing room by doing that. What that says to the other players is that if I'm dealing with an issue and I'm not able to play, this guy is going to drop me and wouldn't care about me as a human being. To some extent, it might seem to the players that the coach or the manager only cares about winning football games and doesn't care about his players. So I think that is something that is really affecting the whole dressing room. It is affecting them in many different ways. So I've seen a lot of calls for players to be dropped and this player be brought in, calls for Chiesa to start games, calls for Joe Gomez to come in and all that. I don't think that is necessarily the only solution. I've seen people suggesting changing tactics to a 3-back, to a 3-4-3 formation. It is all well and good. Everybody is a good coach when things are not going well. That is what I'll say. Everybody is a good coach when things are not going well. I'm not going to sit here and talk about tactics and players who should be given the opportunity and whatnot. But I think that for Salah in particular, I'm talking about Salah here, not other players. For Salah in particular, I think he needs a break from the team. Not necessarily a prolonged break, but I don't think he should be the first name on the team sheet for every game. Like the way he's been throughout the years he's been at Liverpool. We should be able to give him some rest here and there. Bring him on in certain games. Start him and be able to take him off after 60 minutes. I think we should start doing that, at least for now. Now let's go on to Frankfurt, the starting lineup for Frankfurt. So in the game against Manchester United, the coach went with mainly the old guards, the players who have been tried and tested, who have won the championship. He went with them We started with only 3 new signings. So in this particular game, it didn't work against Manchester United, obviously. Going back to the old guard, it didn't necessarily work because I don't think it is personnel issue per se. The whole issue is not necessarily personnel, although some personnel need to change in this particular game. So in this game, I'll go with the same goalkeeper as well as the same back four. So it's going to be Milos Kerkez on the left-hand side, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and on the right-hand side, it will be Bradley. I'll still go for the same back four. My midfield is going to be at the base. Is going to be Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones. Yeah, I'll give Gravenberg a rest because it looked like he came off a bit injured with a niggle in that Manchester United game. So I'll start with Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones at the base. And then in front of them, I'm going to play Florian Wirtz. So that will be my midfield 3. Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz. And up front, the front 3, I'm going to go with Federico Chiesa on the left, Hugo Ekitike as the number 9, and Jeremy Frimpong on the right-hand side. So that will be my starting 11 for this game against Frankfurt. There's quite a number of changes, I know. There is quite a number of changes, but I also believe that some of these players really deserve to have a start in this game. So that would be my starting 11 for that game. My score prediction, it's an away game. It's going to be a difficult game. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is an easy game. We should go and win by 4 or 5 goals to 0. No. It is still going to be a tight game, but I expect us to win. But also, given that we can't keep a clean sheet to save our own lives as a team, Liverpool, I'll go for a 2-1 win for Liverpool. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Let me know your views about what is going on. What do you think the rest of the season holds for us? And also subscribe if you are new here. See ya.